Elementary social science tells us that conflict is an integral part of human society. So human beings think differently, human beings act differently, we respond to situations differently. And a country like Nigeria, where you have hundreds of ethnic nationalities with their different cultures and languages, conflict is inevitable because people will always want to protect their interests and have things done in their own way. But then there are other issues that we can solve, but because we are not open to conversations around these topics, we are still backwards as a country. And today, I wanted to identify three major reasons why Nigeria may never progress. Yes. And the very first one is that Nigeria has a practice of ignoring issues while they are at the nascent stage. When issues arise in Nigeria, the first response of the government is to scratch the surface and then attempt to sweep it under the carpet. And you know what happens when you sweep things under the carpet? It will accumulate and over time explode. So, for instance, in Nigeria, what we today know as Boko Haram, the terrorist organization, began in 2002 as a non-violent organization, and they taught their followers things that many Nigerians might not consider right and things that may not align with our values as a nation. And although they were non-violent anyway, but problems began when the Nigerian government, through the instrument of the police and the military, murdered the leader of this Boko Haram, Mohammed Yusuf. So his deputy, Shekau, who is now the leader, decided to avenge the death of their leader and other members of Boko Haram who were killed by the Nigerian government. So I'm asking, what is the need for killing the leader of Boko Haram? Don't you know that when you kill a leader, that his followers are going to at least show that they are alive and try to revenge or avenge his death? But it seems as if common sense eluded those who were in power then. How can you just kill a leader and expect that there will be no consequences? It doesn't just work that way. Now, also, in 1966 or 67 anyway, Nigeria went into a civil war. And it was because a section of the country cried of marginalization, and then there was a pogrom or genocide or ethnic cleansing, whatever word we use to describe what happened then. But then, ever since that happened, no one has made a conscious or honest effort to address the issues, to call people to a round table and know if they are saying the truth and find out if these people are truly marginalized and know if there are ways we can tackle these issues while it is still nascent. Now, so many groups have emerged fighting for Biafra, since the end of the Civil War. And while these groups are still non-violent, the Nigerian government has refused to call them to a round table and see if there are things we can do to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. If tomorrow these groups that are fighting for Biafra picks up arm, are we going to say that we are not aware that something like that would happen? Because we know that they are fighting for something which they consider right. The best option is not silence, it's not sweeping it under the carpet as if nothing is happening. The best option is to try to address the issues they are raising. Call them to a round table and let's see if we can resolve these issues. Because a time will come when even calling them to a round table will become impossible. Just like it is with Boko Haram today. It is no longer easy to dialogue with them because it's as if they've been overstretched. So things like that, Nigerians and Nigeria don't address issues while they are still starting. We wait for issues to aggravate, to accumulate before we start making attempts to solve them. We just pretend as if nothing is happening. And the second reason Nigeria may never be able to progress is that people don't feel concerned about the plight of others. When something happens in the East, people in the West, in the South, and in the North simply look away and don't feel concerned. When it happens in the north or in the west, the same thing. Other parts of the country turn their back on the part that has problem and as if nothing is happening there. For instance, when Easterners complain of marginalization, people say that they are whalers. When people in the Middle Belt complained about the terror of herdsmen and banditry and all of this, people ignored them and said that they don't have tolerance, they don't know how to live in peace with their fellow countrymen. Until these issues spread all across the country, nobody feels concerned. So I'm asking, if you wait for a trouble to come to your doorstep before you feel concerned, it will consume you before you know it. And that's exactly what happened. Now, for instance, SARS, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, that has now been disbanded anyway, began their nefarious activities in the East. You know, we've all heard about the Okozo SARS and the numerous atrocities they committed. Now, people complained here, people shouted, people screamed about what SARS is doing to the young people and to the society at large. But people felt that it's happening to them, it's their problem. They're always trying to heat up the polity unnecessarily. So people ignored the East in their trouble until SARS grew wings and began to do the same things they were doing in the East in other parts of the country. Then all of a sudden, people began to complain. The military and the police have murdered several unarmed protesters who were protesting in the name of Biafra or who were members of IPOB, that is Indigenous People of Biafra. The military have killed members of the Shiites Muslims. Then nobody complained. People were just comfortable because it didn't happen to them. But then you see what happened at Lekki Gate. All of a sudden, the entire country began to shake because it happened to, yes. So people don't feel concerned until it happens to them, and that's the problem. There is no how you can record progress in a country where there is no empathy. Because it is that empathy that will enable people to, know that this will work for our interest and still work for the interest of others. But in Nigeria, it's always about us. There is a divide between us and them. If it doesn't happen to us, it's not a problem. As long as it's not yet happening in our region, it's not yet happening in our compound, it's not our problem. So how can we progress with that mindset, with that kind of practice? It's impossible. The third and final reason Nigeria may never be able to progress is that people have short and inconsistent memory. Now, we have several people who had been local government chairmen or state governors who didn't perform very well. I mean, their performance was we are below average. And few years later, they come up and want to contest for the Senate or even the presidency. People blindly vote for them, perhaps assuming that they've changed. I know people change, but people don't change easily. If you performed poorly as a state governor, what is the assurance that you're going to perform very well as a senator? So that is part of our problems. Sometimes people are more concerned about, let's say having people from their ethnic group or having their friends or, protecting their personal interest over the general interest. Therefore, they can vote in anybody. And people tend to forget the antecedents of politicians. We don't try to read through their past and see the things that they have done before, because it is from the known that you venture into the unknown. But Nigerians don't consider these things. They just vote blindly. It doesn't matter if you were a known killer, a kidnapper, a terrible person whose character is completely questionable. If you can, manipulate people, then you can easily get people to vote you into a new office, if even to the level of becoming a president. And that is why we continue to take one step forward and 100 steps backwards. Because the people we have in power are incompetent, and we are aware that they're incompetent, but somehow we expect miracles to happen and we vote them in. So that's kind of short memory, forgetting the antecedents of people, forgetting the character of people, and then voting them in and expecting things to turn around is part of the reasons Nigeria we will never progress. Now, these are my opinion anyway. You can feel free to disagree and let me know what you think in the comment section. And I am Ebo Emmanuel. I discuss truth, I discuss lifestyle, I discuss culture. If you enjoyed watching this video, you like, you share, you comment, and subscribe to this channel. Until I come your way next time, I remain Emmanuel.